Good morning, everybody. Today my topic is ensure national security through protecting children in insecurity. At my initial stage, I wish to explain my topic. There is no single universally accepted definition for national security. Anyhow, according to my topic, I have cited a definition from Macmillan Dictionary. According to it, it states national security as the protection or the safety of a country's sacred or its citizen. Today I would like to speak about security or protection of citizens. So as we all are aware, we know that today's children are tomorrow's people of a country as well as future pillars of a country. So state has a duty to ensure their protection. So according to law, who is a child? Many international and national laws accepted and define child as a person below the age of 18 years. So according to my topic, two articles from international standards and 2 sections from national laws I have cited. So with the adoption of the Child Rights Convention, recognition of protecting child from harm and promotion of their development was materialized in 1989. Since 2009, this convention was accepted and ratified by 193 states. Also, the convention was ratified by Sri Lanka in 1991. So, when we talk about national laws, 1978 Constitution of Sri Lanka, Article 12(4) allows special provisions to be made by law, subordinate legislature action for the advancement of children. Also, Article 27(13) states directive principle of state policy and fundamental duties of the state also recognize promoting child's well-being. Extraordinary wide ratification of Child Rights Convention reinforce the belief that children has a special place in the world. Also, these international and national law instruments reinforce the belief that they are physically and mentally vulnerable segment in the society. So, the states has also accepted their duties towards the children. Well-being of a child can be affected by many factors. Especially here, according to my topic, I would like to discuss about trafficking of children in Sri Lanka. Because trafficking is a crime as it exploits vulnerability of child and violation of the right of the children as it denies children of their basic right to living. Trafficking is the largest criminal enterprises in the world after drug and arm. According to the report of Trafficking in Persons report published by US State Department in 2012, it states and identified Sri Lanka as a dealing source for men, women and children subject to trafficking. Also, according to these reports, in this report, Sri Lanka places Tier 2 watch list, which is just one level above the worst category. So, now I would like to discuss about why this trafficking is happening in Sri Lanka. Children are trafficked internally and cross the border for the purpose of forced labor, sexual exploitation, armed force, drug trade, forced child begging as well as removal of organs. According to UNICEF report, 5,000 children have been trafficked internally and currently find themselves in worst form of child labor and commercial sex tourism. Also, boys are more likely than girls forced into prostitution in coastal areas for the domestic child sex tourism. In addition, children are subject to bonded labor, forced labor in the dry zone farming area plantations, firework and fish drying industries. Some domestic child workers in Colombo are generally from Tamil tea estate sector. This shows trafficking in the country goes unvetted and it is a serious matter that need to be taken seriously. Now I would like to give a definition for child trafficking. The 1949 Convention on the Suppression of the Trafficking in Person and of the Exploitation of the Prostitution of Other Convention looks at prostitution from a trafficking perspective. However, unfortunately, it did not include child as a victim in its definition. In year 2000, the United Nations adopted the protocol to prevent, suppress and punish trafficking persons, especially women and children. This was ratified by Sri Lanka in year 2010. According to this protocol, Article 3C defines child trafficking. So, when this provision stresses that trafficking of a child for exploitation purposes by whatever means should be considered as a crime. However, this definition for the child trafficking is only applies for the transnational crime. So, when we talk about national law standards, 1883 Penal Code of Sri Lanka include acts such as abduction, kidnapping and slavery. However, trafficking as a concept introduced as a concept in the first by number 22 of 1995 Penal Code. The definition of trafficking was clearly driven by the need to address the problem of trafficking in children for the purported objective of adoption, which led to exploitation of children by those who were not genuine adoptive parents. A subsequent amendment in year 2006 brought the penal code provisions more in line with the definition in the trafficking protocol. There are several international and national legal instruments prohibit and combat against child trafficking. Especially, Child Rights Convention require that all ratifying nations to protect children from all form of sexual exploitation and sexual abuse to prevent the abduction, sale or trafficking in children for any purposes. When we talk about regional level, the most relevant instrument is preventing and combating trafficking in women and children for prostitution. This was adopted in year 2002. So, next my concern is national laws. 1978 Constitution of Sri Lanka contains a chapter on fundamental rights. While it does not expressly dealing with the concept of trafficking, Article 11 states that no person shall be subject to torture or cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment. This section can be interpreted to recognize the right to freedom from subject to any type of exploitative practices such as trafficking. Number 30 of 2005, the Preventing and Combating Trafficking in Women and Children for Prostitution was enacted to give effect to SAARC Convention on Trafficking. The Penal Code Amendment number 16 of 2006 also criminalized and prescribed penalties for the individual who engage in children younger than 18 years in debt bondage, forced labor, slavery, armed conflict and or trafficking. The above mentioned legal instrument shows that Sri Lanka has already adopted sufficient laws to prohibit child trafficking, but the loopholes in these laws create a further threat to child's well-being. According to TIP report of the issued by US State Department, it states that Sri Lanka does not comply with the minimum standard for the elimination of trafficking, but however it states that the country has made several efforts to do so. Section 360C of the Penal Code Amendment 2006 stipulates to need to establish the same three conditions which are stated in the protocol, such as act, mean, purposes to build a case against trafficking. However, the other treaty obligations, such as which exempt victim from criminal liability, require the state to provide with the assistance and protection and protect such victim from the re-traffic have not been given effect in any legislation. There are also special provisions which recognize the protocol focus on to train and make aware border officers and law enforcement officials on recognizing victim of Sri Lanka. Before developing measures and policies, we should it is important to research on root cause of child trafficking. According to Article 9.4 of Paloma Protocol, which states, recognize factors that make persons, especially women and children, vulnerable to trafficking, such as poverty, underdevelopment and lack of equal opportunity. These factors can be divided into two categories, such as push factors and pull factors. Push factors are poverty, power and violence. Trafficking is derived by a demand such as sexual exploitation, other form of economic exploitations, adoption and post-conflict. In Sri Lanka, the household poverty and debt is a major causes for child trafficking. Accordingly, this situation creates parents to migrate, especially if a mother migrates, that the child will be more neglected and affected by traffickers. Social environment of the country is also an influence factor for trafficking, such as accessibility of pornographic materials including movies. This environment can be easily used by child sex traffickers. In post-conflict era, there is an increase in tourism. Also, this increased the demand for domestic child sex tourism. According to TIP Report 2012, published by US State Department, the number of trafficking convictions in Sri Lanka has been low. If the government neither control nor prevent the trafficking problem, the traffickers may use this inaction and insecurity situation to make their trafficking possible. Also, Adoption Ordinance 1941, which was amended in 1992 according to section 3(5)(a), introduced foreign adoption by joint application of spouses will be permitted only if no other person who is a Sri Lankan citizen has applied for the adoption. However, Sri Lanka law does not require that foreign adoptive parents to spend any more time in Sri Lanka. The Commissioner's investigation takes place during a brief period of 4 weeks. So, a foreign adoptive parent can adopt a child and leave the country soon as possible. So, now my recommendations are, many international and national laws states human trafficking focus on adults. The child trafficking is often addressed as a sub-issue of human trafficking. According to my recommendation, the special distinct attention is required to eliminate child trafficking because they are vulnerable, mentally and physically vulnerable segment in the society. This recommendation should focus on 4 general principles which are stated in Child Rights Convention, especially non-discrimination, best interest of the child, right to life, survival and development, child to express and have her or his views heard and taken into consideration. Legislation or policy cannot alone eliminate child trafficking. These principles need to be considered in all actions to address and prevent child trafficking and assist children who have been trafficked. Also, before a child victim is accompanied with family or guardian of the child, the court or authorized authority should focus on these 4 general principles. According to UN protocol, it states, requires states to adopt measures such as education, social and cultural measures. Punishment should be focused on the exploiter rather than exploited. Preventing begin with the discouraging pull factors and developing push factors of the child trafficking. So, my conclusion is, as we all are aware, children make the world wonderful and childhood is the blessed time of every human being. They are childhood, therefore childhood development is a treasuring fact that decides his or her future as well as future of the state. So, if a country lacks to protect the right of its children, it is putting its own future and security into insecurity. Thank you. It is my duty to express my sincere gratitude to KDU for giving me such a great opportunity to present my first paper in my academic field. Thank you.